Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troll.
(1973 to 1976). Welcome back, baseball fans, to the 1973-76 Carryover League National League Divisional Series matchup. The Atlanta Braves and the Cincinnati Reds. Winner to take on the LA Dodgers in the National League Championship Series. It's been a couple great series. We're in the middle of a good one here. You have the Braves are a wild card team. Almost won the division. They really were just a half game behind the Mets. You could have flipped them. Braves won in the wild card round on the road against Arizona. Not a big feat either. And they faced the Big Red Machine, a team, the only team the Reds can really lose to would be the Reds, as they are clearly the best team in the sport right now. They are on their own tier. When you talk about, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, well, it's the Reds. They're up there. I don't know what you do between tier 1 and tier 2, how many steps or legs or tentacles or what's between the tiers. But I do know the Reds are sitting on a comfy pillow up there at the top of the sport. With the best record in baseball, a team that 3 years ago won the World Series over the Oakland A's, a team a year ago lost a World Series to the Oakland A's, and a team that desperately wants to win, a team that's configured much like the 75 Reds and the 76 Reds, with some nicey juicy parts from the 73 Reds. You get the idea. I want to show you how Atlanta's season ended a year ago. Atlanta, they were a wild card a year ago. They wound up in the League Championship Series against, you guessed it, these guys. Right? Braves, Reds. Let's go take a look at that. See, where is it? Where is it? There it is. Okay, so this is what the box score looked like from a year ago. It was Game 4. Reds were already up 3-0, looking for a sweep. Going to Atlanta. Jack Billingham versus Phil Niekro. Phil did not have a nice day. 5 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 10 walks, 7 runs. Moreover, the Big Red Machine reached base 26 times in 9 innings, scored just 8 runs, won a squeaker 8-7. You had 1, 2, 3 men reach in the first, 1 score. 1, 2, 3, 4 men, 2. 2 men don't score. 3 guys, 1 scores. 5 men reach, 3 score. They load the bases, nobody scores. 2 on, nobody scores. 4 on, 1 guy scores. Leadoff triple, guy gets cut down trying to tack up in the 9th. You get the idea. The Reds just bombed Atlanta, but it was just a squeaker, 8-7. And the Reds just seem to have Phil Niekro's number all year. Jack Billingham beats Phil Niekro to send them to a World Series that they would ultimately lose to Oakland. Okay, that's a little preamble here. So let's take a look at Game 1 of our series. And opening up at Cincinnati, again, it's Jack Billingham versus Phil Niekro. Well, it's not like Billingham got much better. He went 7 innings, giving up 10 hits and 5 runs. This time, the Big Red Machine, they weren't going to leave men on base. No, sorry, Bob. Phil Niekro, 6 innings, 13 hits, 10 runs, 9 are earned. They wallop him. Bench homer, 3 singles at the bottom of the lineup. It's too much. I'll look over here. This is too much to figure out. I'll just go over these numbers. Foster went 3 for 5. Griffey, bench, Geronimo, Dennis Menke all had a couple hits. 10 runs and 14 hits for the Reds. They win Game 1, 10-5. like I said, Tier 1. They're all by themselves in our sport. Or aren't they? Let's go to game number 2. Game number 2, it's Buzz Capra. The great 1974 Buzz Capra card. Pitching on 3 days rest, does not have a hit on his card versus right-handed batters. Could it be a problem for the Reds? Well, the Reds have Morgan, Rose, and Griffey are left-handers, as is Geronimo. The rest of their team, 8 right-handed batters. So Capra is incentivized to go out there and dominate the righty bats of the Big Red Machine. Let's see what happens. Let's just play a baseball game, see what happens. See if you can actually beat the Big Red Machine. Top of the first. Dusty Baker, it's a solo homer off of Don Gullett. And yes, we gave Don Gullett the Cy Young Award. Why'd we do that? Well, he's 10-0. 10-0 usually will get you a Cy Young in our sport. I think Catfish Hunter went 13-1 a year ago in a full season. 1-0 Dusty Baker homer. We go to the third. We get a single by Baker, and then Gar moves the runner up with a ground ball. Rico Carty moves the runner up with a ground ball, and with 2 outs, Hank Aaron RBI single. 2-zip. Bottom of the third. After a single, the Reds decide, let's start running the bases. Concepcion steals a base. Scores on a 2-out single by Griffey. Make it 2-1. Griffey steals a base, is stranded. 2-1 game, though. Stays that way until the 7th inning. When the Braves, can somebody beat Don Gullett? Can the Braves do it? In the 7th inning, Davey Johnson doubles. Vic Carell doubles. Enos Cabell, who? Enos Cabell doubles. You get a 2-run single by, or an RBI single by Mr. Dusty Baker here. It is 5-1, and the Big Red Machine, what's going on? What's happening here? They can't figure out Buzz Capra. He goes 8 2/3, gives up 6 hits and a run, and they have Tom House get the final out in this game. The Braves win 5-1. Let's go to game number 3. There's a series moves to Hotlanta. Game number 3. It's going to be Gary Nolan for the Reds, George Stone for the Braves in this one. Can the Braves get a series lead? They've taken home field away. We saw that happen in the Mets-Dodgers series. Game 3. Gary Nolan, George Stone, scoreless until the bottom of the 7th. Tepedino leads off with a double. Pinch runner Enos Cabell at second. Hank Aaron RBI single, 1-0. Then they go station to station singles to load the bases with no one out. Rico Carty hits a fly ball to left fielder Pete Rose. You got a couple Hall of Famers with an asterisk tossed in there. Hank Aaron trying to tag up against Pete Rose. Pete guns him down at the plate. Don't forget that Pete Rose had a nice arm in the outfield when he was a younger player before he moved to third base and first base. Throws out Hank at the plate. A strikeout ends the threat. It's just 1-0. Okay. Stone continues into the 8th inning. Gets a leadoff single after a couple outs. Ken Griffey, RBI double, scores pinch runner Geronimo. It's tied at 1. We got a competitive game, of course, and the Reds are going to have to try and figure out how to win a low-scoring game using their bullpen. And this is not very good. Maybe it was good for Sparky Anderson in the 70s, but we have seen all year long the strength of the Reds have been great years for Billingham, Gullett, Gary Nolan, Pat Zachary, and frankly, Clay Carroll, Pedro Bourboin, Fred Norman, and free agent Baylor Moore have been pretty awful, pretty unsuccessful. This game goes into the 10th inning. At the top of the 10th, the great Tom House card of 1974 gets a 3-up and 3-down top of the 10th inning. Bottom of the 10th, Pedro Bourboin is in there as a righty facing the right-handed bat, facing the left-handed bat of Darrell Evans. That's because Bourboin is a little bit better against lefties and righties. A walk-off home run for Darrell Evans in Game 3. And yes, the Atlanta Braves lead the series 2-1. If you're wondering, have the Reds ever even lost a series or been behind in a series this year? Yeah, let's take a look at something here, folks. The Cincinnati Reds only lost one series all year, and this is that game. It was a best-of-5 series against Las Vegas expansion team. They threw Pat Zachary out there, and Las Vegas threw their number 4 starter, Paul Mitchell, out there. In this game, the Reds only scored a couple runs off of Paul Mitchell, Danny Frizella, Jamie Easterly, and Max Leon. It was a George Foster homer, a Pete Rose triple, and a sac fly. All they could get was a couple runs. And the late foot came after Pat Zachary exited the game. They beat Baylor Moore and Clay Carroll with back-to-back doubles in the 8th inning by Tom Hutton and Juan Benitez. And Vegas beat the Reds 3-2. So I'm kind of showing you that the Reds just, folks, it's a big red machine. Emphasis on machine. If you don't get the machine started, if you got some bad ignition coil or a dead battery, or you're pulling on that lawnmower string and it's just going blah, 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 you ain't going anywhere. And the Reds just seem to be stubbing their toe in a head-scratching moment in this series here against just an awful Las Vegas team. Now, I could see losing to Las Vegas. Regular season early, this game was played in May, the month of May, so I could see the Reds not losing this. Every team loses in the regular season. But right now, it's mission critical. They're down 2-1. So they send Pat Zachary out in a Game 4 against Bill Grief of Atlanta. And this is a wild affair. Game 4. Bottom of the 2nd inning, you get an RBI sac fly. Rico Cardi, 1-0 Atlanta. Top of the 3rd, RBI single Griffey after Joe Morgan had stolen a base. It's 1-1. In the 4th inning, you start to think the Reds are getting the engine started. Vroom, vroom, as George Foster homer. Then you get Geronimo to hit a home run. If the Reds start getting this thing cranked up, not a lot you can do. You just have to sit there and witness it with glazed over eyes as they run you out of the park. But it's 3-1. 7th inning, Joe Morgan, 2-run homer, it's 5-1. As the Reds look to even the series. Hold the phone. Pat Zachary's a starter 6. In the 7th inning, he hits his point of weakness, and the Reds, they have to go to the bullpen. Yikes! They go to Baylor Moore and Clay Carroll. It gets ugly. Rico Cardi with a 2-run double. You get an RBI single by Vic Carrell? What's going on? They tie the game at 5. But the Reds have other ideas, saying, come on, this is ridiculous, guys. It's like they have a clubhouse meeting in between innings. So in the top of the 8th inning, Perez doubles, Geronimo knocks him in with a single, Mankey single, Concepcion RBI single, and of course, Pete Rose, a 2-out, 2-run double off a series of relievers, including Mike Beard, Adrian Devine, and Tom House. Clay Carroll closes out in the 9th inning, makes it interesting by allowing 2 hits. The Reds win 9-6. And we are all tied up. This is the same scenario we had in the Dodgers series. Home and away wins through 4 games. Much more competitive than we thought. Now, Game 5 can be in Cincinnati. And if you're wondering, let's go back to the description of our divisional round. We said that we're adopting some rules of play from other sports, the NFL realignment and things like that, playoff seeding and so forth. But we use the NBA, the basketball 2-2-1-1-1 format, just in the divisional round. And why do we do that? We want to give the teams that have earned byes the 5th game in their own park if they need it. If they're down 3-1, as to somehow protect the one-and-done scenario. Well, the Reds, just like the Dodgers in the previous series, they deferred. They said, nah, we're good. We don't really think the Braves are all that, just because the series is tied 2. We'll play Game 5 in Atlanta and have Game 6 and 7, if necessary, back home at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. So let's take a look at game number 5. In Atlanta, it's Jack Billingham, Phil Niekro, and the Reds are more than confident. They got their old boy Niekro out there. They figure they can beat him around again. Normally, they would take a ton of pitches, and Niekro would be wild with a knuckler. He's got it dancing today, though, folks. Bottom of the first inning for Atlanta. You get an RBI double, Davy Johnson, 1-zip. Top of the second, George Foster hits this ball about 414 feet to left field. We're tied at 1. Bottom of the fourth, they get to Billingham. 3 straight singles, a Johnny Oates RBI single, and a Ralph Garr. Let's not forget, Atlanta boasts the 1974 batting champion, Ralph Garr. 1-7 triple. 2-run triple, and he's done this a couple times in the series. Ralph Garr has. It's 4-1. And when we look up at the board, the Reds have fallen asleep again. The machine. They had it started, but maybe they are using some bad gasoline, or the air filter got all clogged up, or they need a new fuel filter. I don't know what's up with the Reds, but the machine is coughing, hacking, and spewing against this Atlanta Brave team who has combined the 1973 offense with the 1974 pitching staff. If you're wondering, 74 Niekro is in his best card. 74 Buzz Capra is in his best card, and the closer, Tom House, is in his 1974 best card. They're trying to outpitch the Reds out of the series, are the Braves. They get a 5-1 victory. And the Atlanta Braves take a 3-2 lead, much like the New York Mets took a 3-2 lead in the previous series. Games 6 and 7 were both in L.A. L.A. won them both to go to the LCS. And they're watching on TV right now, rooting for the Braves, hoping the Braves can eliminate Cincinnati. And the Dodgers would host the League Championship Series, games 1, 2, 6, and 7 in Chavez Ravine. Which brings us today to Game 6 and maybe a Game 7. Here in Cincinnati, home cooking, they need it. They are on elimination watch, folks. Did not expect that. And you got to remember, folks, back in the 1970s, there was just the League Championship Series and the World Series. So the Reds, of course, weren't tested. Here, there's an extra level of playoff competition in the divisional round. They, of course, didn't play in the wild card round. But the Reds' road is a little more difficult. We set it up that way. We made our league more competitive for at least the threat that the best team in the league may not win the World Series. Been floating that out there all year. I've been saying that repeatedly. I have not played this. If you're wondering if I've already played the World Series and I'm just now overdubbing the broadcast of all these games, no. But I admit, this sport, the Cincinnati Reds are the world champs. If they want to give the World Series away to someone else, they're welcome to. And right now, they're asking Atlanta, do you want to take the World Championship away from us? Do you dare, Atlanta? Or do we have to go back to Game 4 a year ago where we put a 26 burger on you? So do the Reds humiliate the Braves by putting up double-digit victories in Game 6 and Game 7 to make everybody forget that the Braves were once ahead in this series? Could be on tap. Today's pitching matchup. Oh my goodness, folks. It is Buzz Capra. Let's take a look at the card. If there's a starting pitcher in the National League who could theoretically beat the Reds, it is Buzz Capra, as the Reds only employ 4 left-handed batters on their team. And he's right-handed dominant. And if he can get past the top 3 guys, Morgan, Rose, and Griffey, 5 of the next 6 are right-handed. And that's what Capra has to do, navigate in this game. He has to figure out how to control Morgan, Rose, and Griffey at the top. And the Reds will send their Cy Young winner, a surprise Cy Young winner, Don Gullett, out there. Was 10-0, undefeated. Does he go 0? Does he take that 0 in the loss column and put that 0 in the win column? in this series. He was 17-11 with a 3.04 ERA in 1974. Sure, the card does not look like a Cy Young card because the Reds have been backing him up with support. But he's pitching at home in a Game 6. We saw this game before. Capra won it. Can Capra do it again? Game number 6. We are underway. Leading off for Atlanta, it's Dusty Baker. 111 pops to second. Ralph Garr. 34 grounds to third. Rico Carty. 1-6. Let's take a look at the Rico Carty card of 1975. So Carty left Atlanta by then. Was on Cleveland in 75. Hit 308 with 18 home runs. He's starting to resemble the Carty of the 69-70 Atlanta years, where he hit 362 and 366. Atlanta held on to him instead of letting him go to the American League where he can be a DH, making this Atlanta offense even more deadly. 1-6, homer 1-15, it is gone. And we can say at this particular moment, the Cincinnati Reds are 27 outs away from their season being over. Hank Aaron, 1-9, it's a fly ball to left. All right, the Reds, do they come out immediately with Morgan, Rose, and Griffey here? Joe Morgan, 57 off, Capra's a walk. You got to let these guys swing away here. You can't do any stolen basing, bunting, hitting, and running, all that nonsense when you have an opportunity to knock the Capra card around. Pete Rose, 2-5, flies to center. Ken Griffey, 66, he gets Capra for a single to left field. Morgan, you go coast to coast here, 17. Yes, he does, and on 18, he does. Runners are on the corners. They're going to play back for Johnny Bench. 57's a K. And with 2 outs on the corners, Tony Perez. 2-9, let's take a look at Tony Perez's card of 1973. So, Perez, in the timeline, his best year will be 73. One of the few players in the timeline that we chose with the early card. We have a lot of 75, 76 cards here. We got Rose's MVP card of 73 and Perez's card of 73. 314, 27 home runs, 74 walks, 33 doubles. 2-9, base at left field, and the game's tied. Griffey will hold at second, don't want to end the inning at third with this great offense. The Reds are a team, you really don't want to shorten your inning. You want the opponent to attempt to get you out 27 times by rolling on big red machine cards, in theory. So Foster will swing away, first and second. Here's the pitch. 5-11 off Capra is a K. Top of 2, it's Darrell Evans. 58 is a K. Davey Johnson, 63. Pitcher X, Gullett, is an E6. And he makes the play. Already set up. Vic Carrell, 66. Double 1-3. Base is a double. He catches the double 1-3. Eddie Leone, 66. He backs it up with another double 1-3 and another double. So we got the RBI, which is great. And we got a guy at second. So an improbable run. Should have been 2 singles. It's 2 doubles. 2-1 Atlanta. 2 outs. Enos Cabell. 68 is a walk. What are you doing, Gullett? What are you doing here? Carrell, Leone, and Cabell. They only play versus lefties. You got to get these guys out. They did not. And now you got Dusty Baker at the top with 2 on and 2 outs. 3-6 is a ground to short. And the inning is over. 2-1 Atlanta. Geronimo, 5-10. Catcher's X off Capra. Carrell's a 3E5. Dennis Menke, 69, second X. It's Davey Johnson, a 3E34. Makes the play. Concepcion, 2-7 is a K. We go to the third. Ralph Garr, 36 against the lefties, a base hit. Ace stealer? No, they have not stolen off a bench. And they're not going to start now. Rico Carty, homered earlier, 53. First C. The speedy Garr at second. For Hank Aaron, their MVP of the National League. 1-6 is a walk. Hank Aaron and Johnny Bench, the cleanup hitters for both teams. First and second in MVP voting in the National League this year. First and second, one out, and it's Darrell Evans. 3-6! Let's take a look at the Darrell Evans card of 1973. 41 bombs, a 281 average. 124 home runs out of your 4, 5, and 6 hitters on this Atlanta team. If you're wondering, years ago Atlanta was the top seed in the sport and got knocked out in the first round of the divisional format. Then last year, they were a surprise wild card team after having a disappointing season, and they faced the Reds in the League Championship Series, of which you saw the box score of the final game. And of course, the Braves, this is their last opportunity to use the 73 offense and the 74 pitching staff combination. And right now, they have made a mark. Darrell Evans' 3-run home run. It is 5-1 Atlanta. And there are people in Cincinnati who have their hands over their mouth and like, what is going on? What is going on right now in Cincinnati? Davey Johnson, 39 grounds to short. And Vic Carell, 1-4. 1-4. Let's take a look at the Vic Carell card of 1974 Atlanta Brave, 238. 4 homers and 202 at-bats. 1-4 against a lefty. Homer 1-17. It is gone. It is 6-1. What are we watching here, folks? What are we watching? Are we watching the 73 Reds lose the LCS to the New York Mets? In this case, you can flip the Mets and the Braves, as there is a divisional realignment. We saw the great Met team play brilliantly against the Dodgers, but not advance. So is this the historical lean in this case? A star-studded Cincinnati Reds team baffled in an elimination game. 6-1 Atlanta. Eddie Leone, 2-8, grounds to third. What is the response by the Big Red Machine? They have got to get it going here. It's Joe Morgan. 1-6, of course. Let's take a look at the Morgan card. Yeah, he's going to deliver, sure. 327 in 1975 with 17 home runs, 132 walks. The second best card in the entire decade. Joe Morgan's 1975 Strat-O-Matic card, second only to 1976 Joe Morgan Strat-O-Matic card. He's got the 2 best cards in the decade, same player. 1-6, triple 1-7, that's a triple. Now you got Pete Rose. 2-8, ground ball to short, that'll score a run. 6-2. Ken Griffey, 58, short X. Got to make the play here for Leone, a 3-21. It's a single. And I got to say right now before I forget, what is your defense at shortstop for Atlanta? You got Larry Boa there, Bud Harrelson, Concepcion, Mark Belanger, Bill Russell, Burkamp and Harris? No, you do not. You start Marty Perez versus righties as a 4-21, and Eddie Leone, a longtime Cleveland Indian shortstop, a 3-21 against lefties. And that's a single. You just opened the door for the Big Red Machine. You just got the car started for him. Runner at first, Johnny Bench. 1-7, single 1, lines out. And with 2 outs, it's Tony Perez. 1-8's a strikeout. Capra bears down and gets out of the inning. 6-2. We go to the 4th. Enos Cabell, 37, is a base hit. Back up top to Dusty Baker. 1-7. Let's take a look at the Dusty Baker card, 1973. No, he didn't hit 40 home runs. He hit 21 of them. 21 homers, and he's like, oh yeah, he's just a banjo hitter down there in Atlanta, right? 288, 21 homers, 29 doubles, 67 walks for Dusty Baker. It is gone. And what do you do if you're the Reds? You have no idea what to do. You've never been in this scenario before. Down 7-2, your Cy Young winners out there. You can't use Billingham or Nolan or Zachary. I mean, do you go to Yank, Gullett, for Bourbon, Norman, Baltimore, Clay, Carroll in the 4th inning? You got to sit and spin here, folks. I'm sorry, that's a 2-run homer. Oh my goodness, I'm going to screw that up. That's a 2-run homer. It's Cabell single to lead off the inning, and it is 8-2. Ralph Garr, 66, double, 1-8 is a double. Are we at the point of weakness for Gullett, where he has to leave? Point of weakness in an early blowout moment for a pitcher, for me, is through 3 innings, do you get 10 hits or 8 hits and 4 walks through 3, or 15 men reach by the 4th inning. In this case, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not really. And the reason is these Atlanta long balls are preventing men being left on base. So Gullett's not broken. He's got to sit and deal with this thing. 8-2. Rico Cardi, 54, center X. This is Geronimo, 186. He makes the catch. The other thing to potentially question, should Cincinnati have played Game 5 at home, where they lost Game 5 in Atlanta, and taken advantage of the 2-2-1-1-1 format? Again, we said this was the strategy to protect our number 1 seeds, but the cocky Reds said, no, we want 6 and 7 at home. We had home field advantage by winning Game 4. We want 6 and 7 at home, and it's just not working here in Riverfront. Hank Aaron, 46 off Gullett, flies to left, and with 2 outs. Darrell Evans homered earlier, walks. Davey Johnson, 59, short X, Concepcion makes the play. Is Atlanta better against lefties or righties? Well, I'm going to say righties easily, because you have to employ against lefties Vic Carrell, Eddie Leon, and Enos Cabell. They're bad. They're not even okay. No, they're not okay. They're bad. Again, Carrell, it's 238, Leon, it's 228, and Cabell, it's 241. Against righties, you got Tepedino hitting 304, Marty Perez hits 275, Oates it's 280. Plus you have, Ralph Garr, Hank Aaron. They all, are much better against right-handed pitching than left-handed pitching. And Gullett, again, was 10-0 coming into this, or 10-1 coming into this affair. Bottom of the 4th. It's George Foster, 52, pitcher. Geronimo, 2-8 is a base hit. Dennis Menke, 2-7's a K, and with 2 outs. Concepcion, 1-9, flies to left. We go to the 5th. Vic Carrell. So the bottom of this lineup has reached base 5 out of 6 times. Carrell leads off. 5-12, comebacker to the mound. Eddie Leon, 46, flies to left. And Enos Cabell, 35, grounds the 3rd. This game is now on TV in Los Angeles, in Chicago, where the White Sox are, in Baltimore, in Oakland. If the Reds get eliminated, you got presently 5 other teams with a chance of winning the World Series. Atlanta, the Dodgers, the White Sox, the Orioles, and the A's. Right now, we're at this point where the Reds are giving it away. They're giving the World Championship away. 8-2. Bottom of the 5th, can they rally? Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Gotta say, I didn't think I'd be here, folks, doing this. Didn't think they would stumble. I thought the Las Vegas thing was a blip on the radar. I watched the Oakland A's dominate a year ago, running the table with one interleague loss, series loss, ironically against the Atlanta Braves. Oakland lost to Atlanta. Rolled to the championship, rolled the Reds in the World Series. I assumed the Reds would return the favor, get back to the World Series, and potentially roll the Oakland A's or whoever else the American League had to offer, as Oakland is not having a good year. But that's our story with a 6-run deficit. And can we, with 15 outs remaining, can we rebuild the Big Red Machine? There is plenty of time to do it. This is a team that put 26 men on in a game against Atlanta last year, and they're even better this year. Until today, they got to turn it around. They got the guys to do it at the top of the lineup. Joe Morgan. 58 short X. Eddie Leone, a 3E21. Makes the play this time. Pete Rose, 1-7's a double 1-3 base hit. Ken Griffey, a new addition to this team, a 336 hitter of 76. 46 is a fly ball to right. And Johnny Bench, 2-6 is a K. We go to the 6th inning. Gullett will continue. Dusty Baker, 110 is a single. Ralph Garr, 6'10", short X. This is Concepcion. This should be a double play. It is. Concepcion, a 2. Rico Cardi, 2-9. He set the tone in this game with a home run in the 1st inning. He flies to left. Bottom of the 6th. It's Tony Perez. 2-2, grounds to short. George Foster, 311. He grounds to the pitcher. And Geronimo, 46, flies to right field. Buzz Capra, trying to do the amazing, trying to beat the Reds twice. He'd be your series MVP, I'm pretty sure, winning half of the 4 games. Again, with the formula. Dominates righties of a right-handed heavy Big Red Machine team. Obviously, history would suggest the 74 Buzz Capra, would be facing the 74 Reds who didn't win the division. The 74 Reds missed the playoffs altogether as the Dodgers won the division. Now you're taking the 74 Capra going against a very heavy 73, 75, 76 Red division winning team and showing what you can do in a mixed card league. Top of the 7th, Hank Aaron. 64 off of Gullett. It is gone. It is 9-2. Hank Aaron, the MVP of the National League, and that's homer number 1. 2, 3, 4, 5. And out of the spirit of the game, we're taking Gullett out. Probably should have taken him out in the 4th. 9-2. There are people. The fans in Baltimore, Oakland, Chicago, LA, they're all popping the champagne cork. And of course, Atlanta. Fulton County Stadium, where they're having the game broadcast on the big screen in center field. They're going nuts down in Atlanta. 9-2. They were humiliated a year ago by this Red team. A 4-game sweep and 26 men reaching. Do we go Clay Carroll now? Why not? Clay Carroll will come on in the 7th. If you're wondering, Clay Carroll's been pretty awful this year. He's 3-3 with 9 saves and ERA around 6. And the rest of this bullpen's been pretty awful as well. They've been doing it with really good starting pitching. And today, they have been exposed. The best team in the sport, been exposed terribly. Gull leaves after 6 in a batter, And Clay Carroll will come on in the 7th. 74, 12-5, 214 ERA, and 101 innings. Clay Carroll. 7-run lead. He will face Darrell Evans. 110, flies to center. Davey Johnson. 64, short X, hits Concepcion. He makes the play. And with 2 outs. Vic Corral, he'll stay in the game. 2-7 is a K. 7th inning stretch in Cincinnati. A horror show in Ohio is what it is. We've been enjoying the music of Brick. Their 1977 self-titled album Brick. I think they were from Ohio. Featuring the hit Dusek on this one. Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody also on this one. And very subdued tone here, of course, in Cincinnati in the bottom of the 7th inning. They've got to... They got to figure out, how to get Capra out of the game. He's a starter 8. So he'll probably be pitching all of this inning with a 7-run lead. And on the bench, they're all right-handed batters. Good ones. J.L. Liu, Rod Gilbreth, Bob Barton. Not as good as the guys in the Red lineup. So it's Dennis Menke leading off in the 7th. 2-6 is a K. Concepcion, 3-7 is a base hit. Back up top. Now, these are the guys you need. You got to get Morgan Rose Griffey up on 2 occasions, in this inning and in the 9th inning if necessary. But you got to have all these on base to have any chance. Joe Morgan, 3-8, you walked him. Predictable. It's a shame that Capra's not a starter 7. You could put him at point of weakness and get him out of there. He's a starter 8, making him even more impressive. 2 on, 1 out for Pete Rose. 45, flies to left, and here it is, folks. Ken Griffey, let's take a look at the card. Got this card in the league, finally. The Reds were basically sandbagging their minor league system with George Foster and Ken Griffey and Dan Driesen, leaving them down there because of guys like Bobby Tolan in the outfield. They finally brought up Griffey. He had been in baseball for 3 years. They finally got him in here with a 76 card, hitting .336. A big reason why this team won the 76 World Series against the Yankees. Here's your pitch to Ken Griffey. 45 again, off the Capra card. Said that quite a lot today. The inning is over on a fly ball to left field. We'll go to the 8th. Clay Carroll continues. It's Eddie Leon. 55, short X. It's Concepcion. He makes the play. Cabell will stay in for defense. 59 rolls the second. And back up top, it's Dusty Baker. 58 flies to left field. Bottom of the 8th inning, a quick turnaround for Buzz Capra. Johnny Bench. Oh, this is what Capra wants. All the righties. Johnny Bench, 63. Second X. Second base is Davey Johnson. He's a 334. He makes the play defensively. One of the weaker defensive players on Atlanta. Their defense is not that great. They have holes, do the Braves. Tony Perez, 2-7, gets double 1-3. It gets a double. He's on second for George Foster. 66 is a K in the 6th column of Capra, where you only have a walk on 5. That's the domination of this card. We're seeing the one-hit wonder of Buzz Capra. This is the perfect storm. Hurricane Capra. Beating down the Big Red Machine. This is the scenario that could play out, and it has thus far. And with 2 outs, it's Geronimo. 58 short X. This is Eddie Leon, a 321. Can he crack the door open with his defense? He does with a base hit. That's the door cracked open here. One more batter needs to reach to get Capra out of there and give the Reds a slimmest chance. 2 on, 2 outs. It's Dennis Menke. You need a walk here for the Reds. 2-9 is a grounder to short. They cannot extend the inning. The inning ends. It stays 9-2 in the 9th. It's Ralph Garr. 63 first X. Tony Perez, a 313, makes the play. Rico Cardi, 66, flies to right. He'll leave the game. Marty Perez will take over at second base. Better defense than Davey Johnson. Hank Aaron. 1-4, flies to left, plus an injury. Well, interesting little story there. Hank gets hurt, so they'll lose the 3E8 defense in left field. Right after, well, you know what? They haven't actually made the defensive change yet. So Cardi, they haven't actually gone into the field yet, obviously. So Cardi can stay in the game and play left field. Marty Perez will simply come in for the injured player now, Hank Aaron. That'll be the substitution. So you do have a weak left fielder. Rico Cardi is a 4 plus 3E16. So the Atlanta defense got worse in left, better at second base. In the bottom of the 9th inning, it is 9-2. Capra will face Concepcion, and then the decision is, do you go to Tom House with a 7-run lead? Probably, to face, this dominating top of the red lineup. Buzz Capra, Dave Concepcion in the 9th. Here's the pitch. 65! You got the only on base in the Buzz Capra card. It's a walk. And that sets the stage for a pitching change. So you went 8. You got Tom House. And if you're wondering, why take out the brilliant Buzz Capra? And here is the answer to that question. You have somebody better than Buzz Capra in 1974, and his name is Tom House. In 1974, he was 6-2 with a 1.92 ERA in 103 innings. Folks, these are anonymous players you forgot about in the 1970s. They didn't do this year after year after year. We know the Reds did it. We know the Reds did it from 1969-70 all the way through the mid to late 70s. But Atlanta had a great pitching staff in 74 and tremendous offense in 73, and they're putting it to test in this series on the about to go to the League Championship Series. Tom House comes on in the 9th, and he'll deal with the top of the Red lineup here. They need to have a historic rally in the bottom of the 9th, down 7. Concepcion obviously runs down to second base, so no double play. Tom House, Joe Morgan. Here's the pitch. 1-11, Morgan misses the column, and he grounds the first. Now you got Pete Rose. Let's take a look at the Rose card now, because this could be the last time we see the 1973 MVP card of Rose. They're going to have to make a decision in the offseason. A little bit preliminary of that, but they have to decide, do you move him to third base this offseason, or do you keep him in the outfield? That's something that the Reds are going to have to decide. Here's the pitch to Pete Rose. 1-8, you get the base hit to right field. So you have runners in the corners, and it's Griffey. You certainly don't take him out. He destroys left-handed pitching. And Tom House, your role in this card doesn't matter that much. Ken Griffey. 67 is going to be a K, and with 2 outs, it comes down to Johnny Bench. Let's take a look at Johnny's card. This is the first time we haven't had an MVP Johnny Bench card in the league. We had the 1970 card in for 4 years. That overlapped into the 72 card for a couple years. That card was put away a year ago, so that they had to move into the 1975 card of Johnny Bench with 28 homers and a 283 average. The brilliant Johnny Bench. Does he take the team into the offseason right here? Here's your pitch to Johnny Bench. 1-9 is a walk, and that loads the bases with 2 outs for Tony Perez. We saw the card earlier. Here's the pitch to Tony Perez. 2-4, misses the column. It's a ground ball to third. Darrell Evans scoops it, throws over to first, and they've done it. That's the game. The Atlanta Braves are celebrating in Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati in a Game 6. Something we never thought, never even assumed the Braves had a chance in this. They beat the Reds 4-2 by winning Game 6 9-2. Your series MVP has got to be Buzz Capra. We're going to take this right to the post game. My goodness, folks. It happened. Didn't think it was going to happen. And now the whole season now has some drama in it. We're going to have a wild world champion. It's not going to be the Reds. It's going to be somebody else. Clay Carroll. Isn't this peculiar? In an elimination game down 7, he has his best pitching performance of the year. Clay Carroll got 9 guys in a row out. So when we look at his final earned run average in the eliminating Reds video, it'll look reasonable. He struck out a batter in 3 innings. And then Don Gullett, the Cy Young winner. They're going to question, why'd you give Don Gullett the Cy Young? Well, he was 10-0 until Atlanta showed up. Gullett, 11 hits, 9 runs. All of it earned. Tarnishing a Cy Young season. This is just a stunning fall for the Reds. But here's the good news. Sure, the 1973 Red failure against the New York Mets, historically, that'll be put in the rearview mirror. Now the Reds can next year focus on the 75 and 76, adding more pieces from those World Championship teams to get this bitter taste out of their mouth. Tom House in the 9th inning gave up a hit, a walk, and a K. And Buzz Capra, oh my goodness, 9 hits and the 2 runs. Walk 3, struck out 8. 1-0-9, 0-1-9, 9-11, 2-10. 3-2, 4-9, 4-9, 3-2. The Dodgers are getting the bunting ready on the stadium, Dodger Stadium, for the League Championship Series. It's looking like this 74 Dodger has got the best chance of going to the World Series, a team that would lose the 74 World Series to the Oakland A's. But that right now is looking like the most likely format based on Major League history, Major League Baseball history. Again, all these teams we're talking about, the Reds, the Braves, Dodgers, they were all in the National League West way back in the day. They're all in different divisions. Atlanta's in the East, Cincinnati's in the North, and the Dodgers stay in the West. Reds were 13 over 500 to start this series, and they're stuck on 27 wins, 11 over 500, finishing 27 and 16. The Reds hit 287. They were hitting close to 300, before the series started, and they faded. The team ERA, 382. Gullett finishes 10-2. The ERA is still, and all that is still pretty good. It's 35 times 9 divided by 96.6. 326 ERA after getting knocked around a couple times. Jack Billingham was 7-2. 27-16, but when you look at the bullpen, they didn't, in two of the losses to Atlanta, the bullpen wasn't very good, and the bullpen had lost 7 games. 27-16 Cincinnati team, 7 losses by the bullpen. Johnny Bench, 12 homers, 43 RBIs in 43 games. The leading hits, George Foster had 55 hits for the team. Somewhat of a surprise, 55 for 178, George Foster at 309. Pretty much just a consistent offense. Joe Morgan had 38 walks with 50 hits. Joe Morgan at 291, but throw in 38 walks, and yeah, he scored 44 runs. Pitching failures, and Atlanta doing Atlanta stuff. Again, we talked about the 73 hitters. We talked about the 74 pitchers. Exactly what happened. We just saw it. We saw it. Could it happen? The answer is yes, it did. It was those particular cards that did it. The Braves started the series 8 over 500 and now 10 over. 28-18. Hitting 294. 404 ERA. Yeah, that's not that great. Let's look at Capra first. He's now 7-3. 30 runs in 91 innings. 297 earned run average. 2 complete games. He didn't get complete games. They brought in Tom House to finish those. How about Tom House? 11 saves with a 1-2 record. 5 runs in 25 third innings. A 177 earned run average. Tom House, Buzz Capra. Phil Niekro, for all his problems against the Reds in Game 1, still was 8-5. Actually, again, you have a reliever, Mike Beard, who is a pretty good reliever. A second lefty joining House, but he was 1-4, and he really struggled, giving up 24 runs in 24 innings. That's a shocker because he's a talented pitcher who really got lit up. Had Mike Beard pitched better, maybe the Braves actually do win that division, and maybe they actually get home field in the playoff round. But he lost a lot of games. Hank Aaron, your MVP, 19 home runs, 55 RBIs in 46 games. Can this be a Hank Aaron World Championship? Can it happen? Sure. Davey Johnson had 13 home runs. The third wheel is Darrell Evans. Darrell Evans only had 7, so he's due for more. 7 and 24. Ton of home runs for this team. How about Rico Carty? Carty just had 4 home runs. He was 42 for 175. That's not that great. Rico Carty only hit 240, so he actually underachieved. Can the Braves do the same thing against the Dodgers? Yeah, they can. The pitching's going to get better, though. The Dodgers have better pitching in the bullpen, in the rotation. The Dodger offense is going to have a lot of speed to contend with. The Braves have a -1 arm catcher. The Dodgers faced a -2 arm catcher, Jerry Grody. Didn't attempt a lot of steals. I think the Dodgers are going to try and run off of Johnny Oates and Vic Correll. Or at least they should. 28-18. 10 over 500 for Atlanta. And 27-16 for the Reds. Let's go into the postseason box here. Still stunned. And it's kind of funny. In the divisional round a year ago, Atlanta was a wild card team tasked against the San Francisco Giants. And in that round, they did the same thing. They won 4-2. I don't have to change anything. I don't have to write anything in here. It's the same team and the same result. Now, after doing this, they would play the Reds a year ago and get waxed in the League Championship Series. That doesn't forebode well. It means they go to the League Championship Series and potentially could be waxed against the LA Dodgers. However, they were just a 6 over 500 team a year ago. They're 10 over 500 this year. And the Reds finish 27-16. $11 over 500. So we know it's Atlanta and the Dodgers. And we know Atlanta is the road team, 10 over. And the Dodgers are the host. And the Dodgers are 7 over. Dodgers get home field because they're the division winner. They're the 2 seed. If you're wondering about the, we don't count the games over 500. That's just for counting purposes. Dodgers get home field as the number 2 seed. They were on life support. In other words, they lost 5 of 6 to the Arizona. But they finally beat the Mets, subdued them 4-3, and they will host the LCS, the National League. That's it, folks. Didn't think I'd be here, but I'm here. Break up the Atlanta Braves for shocking the world and knocking out the best team in the carryover league in quite some time, the Cincinnati Reds. They did it 4-2, winning in Cincinnati. Thanks for watching this series. We'll see you next time.